Hello everyone, welcome to Kingdom Classification once again. We have come a long way. We have started with the importance of the classification, then who came up with the classification. Okay, there were two scientists. First was two kingdom, later came the five kingdom. Then we have started with the kingdoms. We have covered with Monera, and then Protista. I know. After Protesta, we have come to now Kingdom Fungi. I just hope you have made your own notes for both the kingdoms, like its habitat, its structure, how does it respire, its locomotion, everything, all the parameters of both the kingdoms. And there's one example they have given us. One is for Protesta, it is bacteria, the one and only bacteria, and the obviously for Protesta it was amoeba, right? And so please complete your notes to have yourself study, have the enjoy drawing diagrams and labeling them. It is interesting if you take interest. Okay, let us start with kingdom fungi. So let us first take a look at the general features. These are going to be plant-like organisms. Please remember this, that they are not plant exactly, but they are plant-like. In the sense they are going to have some roots, stem-like structures, leaf-like structures, etc. and root-like structures also. Okay, they are mostly multicellular. They are non-green. Okay, that's its very important point, that they are non-green. That is why they are going to depend on others for food. Next is and non-photosynthetic in nature. Have membrane bound organelles, that they are going to have a cell membrane. Okay, the organelles are going to be well developed organelles. They do not have any kind of plastids. Obviously they are non-green, so no plastids, and the cell wall is made up of chitin. There is a substance or you can say chemical called as chitin. Please remember that. Okay, yeah, they also have a vegetative body. That means it has got a root and shoot, just like plant, as I told you. Then it is made up of a number of long multicellular filament-like structures called hyphae. They are thread-like structures actually. These hyphae, they go upwards and downwards both. Okay, the hyphae which go upwards are called as sporangiophore, and the ones which will go down to form roots will be called as rhizoids. That we'll just see. And the last point is obviously they lack chlorophyll, as we already know that there is no plastid, and that's why no chlorophyll. Examples for this is going to be mushrooms. Few of the edible mushrooms we have, right? Molds, toadstools, these are all saprophytes. Please remember the examples: mushrooms, molds and toadstools. They grow on the dead and decaying composing plant and animal matter, obtaining nutrition from it. Saprophytes, that itself means that it is obtaining food from the dead and decaying stuff. There is one more type, that is parasitic. Okay, parasitic means they are extremely dangerous for the plants and animals and humans. For example, rust and smuts are parasites. They obtain their nutrition from another living organism called the host. So rust and smut are the parasitic fungi. Okay, and these parasitic fungi are the causes of various plants and animal disease. These can be found in various plants and animals. These are the names of the diseases actually. Rhizopus is a fungus that grows on, rhizopus is very important, okay, which grows on the organic matter such as stale bread or rotting fruit. Mostly on the stale bread it grows very faster. Rotting, yeah, fruits also they have seen, but then they take various textures. But in bread it is all whitish in color and it later becomes blackish. Okay, they may also grow on the other household items such as leather, damp clothes, and paper. Yeah, the paper when it goes for remains there for the longer time, and then it absorbs some moisture due to the humid climate. Damp clothes also, if the clothes are not dried properly. Leather also, which gets a little it absorbs moisture in the humid climate. That is where it gets the right temperature to grow. So you can expect fungus to grow on leather, damp clothes, paper, obviously apart from bread and fruits. This fungus is called as rhizopus. It has got a very typical structure. Okay, now let us see. At the top is sporangium, so that oval like structure is sporangium. Inside that you can see many spores. In one of the thing you can see the spores, right, at the top of it. When the spores when the sporangium matures, the sporangium is going to burst, and the spores will spread all over, and they will give rise to other fungus. That is how it reproduces actually. Then there is this sporangiophore. Okay, you can see this thread-like structure is called as sporangiophore. Fine. And the root-like structures are called as rhizoids. The root-like structures are called rhizoids. The fungus is called rhizopus. The rhizoids and rhizopus are quite similar. Don't just interchange. Be alert while you are learning. Rhizopus is the name of the fungus. Rhizoids are root-like structures of the rhizopus. This diagram you will draw, you will practice, you will label, because it is very, very important. It is also there in further standards. So please study. Then molds. These molds, whatever rhizopus, appear as a cottony mass that consists of thread-like multicellular filaments called hyphae. So all these sporangiophores and these rhizoids together are hyphae. Okay. Each hyphae is a single continuous column filled with cytoplasm and several nuclei. The hyphae grow in all directions to obtain nutrition. See, here only few strands are shown, no? But actually there are many strands growing together. I am going to send a link also which will show, or you can just go through the internet to see videos on rhizopus. Beautiful videos you will be able to see. Though it is very not a good thing to grow, having a bread in the house with a fungus. But just in order to study how does it look, please have a look at this video. See, I have given here in this PDF itself. Hyphae that grows downwards and obtain nutrients, they form root-like structures called rhizoids. So this is the link. Please go through it. It is a beautiful link video. Hyphae that grows upwards forming the slender columns are called sporangio. I missed out S over there, so please correct it. Sporangiophores. The tip of each sporangiophore has an oval structure called sporangium, and which has got spores. When they become mature, they will liberate. Means they will burst and they will spread, and they will germinate again in the nearby area of the bread, and that is how that fungi grows very rapidly. Okay. Yes, so that is it. We are not going to go ahead with much of the content. Just slowly. Today we have started with kingdom fungi, and today we just saw two types, that is saprophytic fungi. Okay, mushrooms, molds, toadstools. There is no example to study in this, but for parasitic, we have come up with this rhizopus thing, which grows on the dead and decaying. It is not the rhizopus, it is a saprophytic. Yeah, it is saprophytic. It is saprophytic. It is a mold, correct. Okay, for parasites, in fact, we are not studying anything, but we are studying the saprophyte, one of the molds, that is rhizopus. Okay, and it grows wherever there is little moisture available, just like bread, fruits, damp clothes, leather. Okay, so have also I would suggest you that please practice this picture or this diagram. Do not get confused. That oval-like structure up at the tip is the sporangium. The thread-like structure is the sporangiophore. Okay, and whatever dot-like structures are there, they are the spores. Understood? Yeah. So, and the root-like structures are the rhizoids. Furthermore, we are going to study many other features about the fungus, but till that time, please make your own short notes about these fungus, kingdom fungus, and also start writing the question answers short. Section 2, if you have completed with H, I, J, I don't know what the sequence is, go ahead with the next one. I'm forwarding the PDF. Use the PDF not to copy exact to exact. Make your own notes. Okay, make it short. We do not expect long sentences. Just like I have made here PPT with, I have not like copy pasted everything from the textbook. I have just tried to make it as short as possible, but I cannot just ignore if there is anything important. Okay, so just put a comma and the important words, highlight them so that they are clearly seen when you attempt the paper also. Now that it is an online thing, it is more shorter, right? We are just having 40 marks. We are not sure about the next assessment how it will be, but let us be just precise with our whatever notes we give, whatever answers we give. Okay, so for now This is it. We have studied fungus today, okay, and we have studied. You now came to know how what exactly grows on that bread. If that bread is going to be in your kitchen for a longer time, you can show your mama that, mama, we need to throw this bread because there's a lot of fungus on it. Do not try to touch it because obviously it is harmful. It can cause diseases. We just don't allow, such kind of fruits or to be there in the house for a longer time. Just eat them, students, okay? They are very healthy. As soon as your parents get them for you, you better consume them. Then for leather and clothes, whenever it is sunny, your mamas must be putting them outside to so that they dry completely, right? No. So take care of your things. This is what we can learn from this, that if we are not very alert, then there is growth of this fungus, and slowly we never come to know how does it infect us also. Like there is smut and rust example given, no. Last year syllabus had other many examples actually. Okay, and there is one example of athlete's foot where the leg gets swollen like elephant, elephant's leg. It is also called elephantiasis. That is one reason of fungal infection. Okay, so let us stop here. I hope now this week is going to be a offline session. Okay, so you can expect the next lecture also to be an offline. Please complete your work. Have a good day. Be cheerful. Keep smiling. So till then, bye bye, students.